wake up, South Carolina. This is your dude, Spike Lee. And I know that you know the system is rigged. For too long, we've given our votes to corporate puppets. Sold the okie doke. 99% of Americans were hurt by the Great Recession of 2008, and many are still recovering. And that's why I'm officially endorsing my brother Bernie Sanders. Bernie takes no money for corporations, nada, which means he is not on the take. And when Bernie gets in the White House, he will do the right thing. How can we be sure? Bernie was at the March on Washington with Dr. King. He was arrested in Chicago for protesting segregation in public schools. He fought for wealth and education equality throughout his whole career. No flipping, no flopping. Enough talk. Time for action. Hey, Bernie from Brooklyn, talk to the folks.
I'm Bernie Sanders, Democratic candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie 2016, not the billionaires.
Morning, everybody. That was the new Spike Lee endorsement. It's February 23rd, and well, yesterday was quite a day. A lot of stuff went on. We had a fantastic newsroom yesterday with Jonathan Ticini, author of the book The Essential Bernie Sanders and His Vision for America. And that was the Spike Lee endorsement, which just played that from SoundCloud. Got Scott with me in the background today, hanging out. He missed his plane. The TSA line was too long. He was supposed to be in Chicago, missed his plane. But before I go any farther, I just want to say this is one of the new covers from Steph, volunteer Steph from Not Even America, can't even vote. And he's been helping us, and I just love these things. This is beautiful. Wake up, America, which is what Spike Lee had to say. And I just want everybody to know that this symbolizes what we've got to do with our country. It also symbolizes what we're doing with Bernie 2016 TV. So I really love the cover, Steph. Thank you so much. It's amazing what we can do together. But let's say hello to everybody. Hey, hun. Hi, John. You're saying that to me. I'm reading your own quote. Hi. Hey, hun. Juliet. Hi, John. Your name flew by. I couldn't read it. D.L. Frater and Iranian 11 and Cynical Girl and Morgan McManus and Lyle and Dutch for Bernie. Mike Brendan. Hi, Steph. Love your cover, man. John Whitkus. Yeah, TSA. I'm sorry. There's sarcasm there, right? TSA, very efficient government program. I've dealt with the TSA. Thank you, Jake, champion of the truth. Yes, we all are champions of the truth together. We're going to look at just how horrific the media has been lately with distorting the truth. We're going to look at some of those distortions, and we're going to start with Robin Morris. John, yesterday was BTV getting in with the big boys and goes, yeah, I guess so. It kind of felt that way. I don't know. Did it feel that way for you guys? Hey, Mike Brendan. Hi, Lakeisha. Zox. Good morning, everybody. Look at all these good mornings. Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Purry for Bernie. Good morning. I didn't remember what I was saying, but that's right. Did you guys see this? This is what we're gonna talk about. Put it in the thing. MSNBC, folks. MSNBC bringing a new low to media. Before we even talk about what was said, here's what happened. Somebody leaked tape because they're recording the audio the whole time. So this is when MSNBC's Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski were interviewing Trump, and they're it's since when I go look over it this way, it's supposed to be that way. Am I backwards? Am I reversed? You guys gonna tell me I'm reversed again? Good morning, John Scardigan. Thank you. I bet I am reversed. You have to put me in the other one. Hang on a second. Let's do this. There. See, now when I look over here, I'm looking the right way. This is the thing with cameras and stuff. Sorry, guys. All right. Yeah, sarcasm. Sorry about that. Dick Van Dyke did announce. Love Dick Van Dyke. He's fantastic. Anyway, we're going to cover several egregious, just they're just distortions of the truth. This is just establishment. What's happening? Here's what's happening, guys. I'm sorry, let me back up. What's happening that's beautiful is that we, the people, are uncovering the lies of the establishment, presenting them on the web, and going, hey, CNN, here's where you lied blatantly. Hey, MSNBC, here's where we see you licking Donald Trump's ass backstage. Right? So what happened here was somebody released full audio of Joe and Mika talking to Donald Trump and what they were saying in between live, right? You go live, and what happens in a real studio is they go, 5 minutes or 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Oh, okay, we're back, blah, 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 right? So some of the things that were said in this, folks, and I'm not going to play it because it's really long, but Harry Shearer, and the link is in the description. Harry Shearer has the whole audio broken out, and he's got a very nice pre and post discussion on it. You should listen to what Harry has to say. But we're just going to skip down to some of the beautiful commentary that was made. Just absolutely lovely commentary. Just give me 1 second here. We'll zoom in on this for you guys. So during the commercial break, Brzezinski and Scarborough can be heard complimenting Trump on his then recent debate performance. Brzezinski said, "You know what I thought was a kind of wow moment was the guy that you brought up on stage. We played it up against Obama." Trump replied, "You had me almost as a legendary figure. I like that." Yeah, I bet you do, Donald. The most telling piece of audio came before Trump's final segment, where he told the MSNBC morning hosts, You get great ratings and a raise. Me, I get nothing. Just make us all look good." And then Joe Scarborough, pinnacle of journalism and integrity, says, "Exactly. This is what it's all about for the establishment." And I want to remind everybody right now, this is what it's about for Hillary Clinton. Okay? This is, so these guys are for their candidate. They're happy with Donald, right? And there is a relationship there. Scarborough, and as the author of this article continues, Scarborough and Brzezinski are abusing their jobs at MSNBC to push their friend Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Here's a news flash for Joe Scarborough. Journalists are not supposed to have an interest in making the people that they are interviewing look good. That's called having a bias. But here's the thing. There's nothing in law, American law, that says that they have to tell the truth. Ronald Reagan removed that in 1986, folks. The Fairness Doctrine was repealed, and news organizations no longer had to tell the truth. They no longer had to be unbiased. So I don't know why anybody's complaining about this. This isn't new. This has been happening since the 80s. This has been happening since our federal government removed restrictions on integrity and said to our news agencies, you no longer have to have any. You can lie out your ass. You can be for whoever you want, just as long as the American people think you're telling them the truth. So that's incident number one. Incident number one there. Hey, look, we have some comments. We want some comments. I'm going back, check over here. Screw MSM. I know, but here's the thing. So, my own self, we can say screw MSM. The problem is that 24% of the American public are listening to them right now. They hear whatever was said there. They heard it. They thought it was great. Donald Trump looked legendary, right? Those two were Donald Trump and legendary. Legendary asshole. Legendary bigot. Legendary piece of shit. But that's about all. Really. Look, we're not even running through. See, if I don't hit all the buttons when we start these things, you don't get to see all the different ones. So, this is one example. Let's move on to the next example. Bernie will be in Oklahoma tomorrow. We will talk about where Bernie is. He's all over the place. He's doing a bunch of stuff. We've got some really good video today. Really good video from, I'm not going to remember his name. Why do I always forget this guy's name? Let me go over here and find it. That's not it. We'll find it. We'll play it in a minute. But, okay, we're gonna move on. Do you remember the Jonathan Capehart BS that we talked about yesterday? So Capehart was the guy that basically slandered Bernie Sanders. He lied. He lied on national news. He lied in his article. He hasn't retracted his article at all. He's admitted that he needed to do some more research, but he hasn't retracted the article, and the article still sits the top search. Okay, when you look at this. That's a good comment. Get your Bernie stickers on cars. Good point there. So this is Jonathan Capehart, Swift Boats Bernie Sanders. This is from Right Wing Watch. And it's a little 4.5-minute video, and I really like the way they show you, they explain to you just what this guy did. So, Jonathan Capehart, you are not a journalist. You are somebody who has been paid to wear a bow tie and lie on camera about Bernie Sanders' record. You didn't do your research. You didn't do your job. You wrote a smear piece. You know you did. Job done. It's like a chemical weapon in this war. You basically used something you weren't supposed to use. Zero integrity. Zero integrity. I don't know how you even have a job. Right? We've proven on the web, we've proven many times over, CNN has even shown that Bernie Sanders was heavily involved in the civil rights movement, right? And that he was arrested in the civil rights movement. And I'm going to say this statement, and it may be a little out of line because I am not an African American. But hey, Jonathan Capehart, Bernie Sanders did a fuckload more for civil rights than you have. Okay? He's done more for you than you have. Right now, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Anybody who's African American who's going to vote for Hillary Clinton is voting to oppress themselves even more. I find that sad. And that may come across offensive to African Americans, but it's really only meant to be offensive to Jonathan Capehart. So I just cannot believe your lack of integrity and the fact that you are shooting yourself in the foot here, sir. So let's listen to this video and uncover the truth about what went down here.
Thank you! Thank you, New Hampshire!
Yep. Okay, do we have the picture? There's a picture that Bernie Sanders supporters are sending around. This picture right here that they're sending around trying to say that he's been in the trenches fighting for us, fighting for civil rights. That's not Bernie Sanders. That is Bruce Rappaport, a fellow student activist.
Are they going, this is Bernie?
At the University
Are they
of Chicago.
saying this is Bernie?
His supporters are saying it. The Bernie Sanders campaign Tumblr feed has that picture. His introductory video has that picture. When I reached out to Tad Devine to ask, okay, what's up with this? He gave me this long statement, but the key point was, to be honest, we are not 100% sure.
Jonathan, you were one of the first to uncover that that was not Bernie Sanders.
Well, let's be clear. This story, I happened upon this story by linking into a Time magazine story from November. When that picture first appeared, alumni from the University of Chicago started, I guess, contacted Time and said, that is not Bernie Sanders. And what ended up happening was, the picture was captioned Bernie Sanders. Fast forward to January, the University of Chicago determines that it's not Bernie Sanders, it is Bruce Rappaport, another student leader at the University of Chicago. They changed the caption. I then somehow see this a couple weeks ago and am fascinated by the disconnect here. I get in touch with the university. They tell me they changed the caption in January because a lot of people came forward. I put out this, I called Tad Devine, the strategist for Bernie Sanders. We email back and forth. The big sentence he gives me is, You know, to be honest, we're not 100% sure it is or isn't Bernie Sanders, but it's on the Bernie Sanders Tumblr feed as Bernie Sanders. It is in Bernie Sanders' campaign bio ad.
Andrew, this gets to yet another dividing line in the African American community on the Democratic side, and that is in part an online-offline debate. Online, in social media, Jonathan can attest to this too. Reporters, journalists who've been covering this campaign have been barraged with, as have African Americans who are active on social media, pictures of various civil rights marches, the 65 march in Selma, this Bruce Rappaport potentially picture, these pictures in New Chicago, with people insisting and red circling white men in the picture with glasses saying, that's Bernie Sanders. That's proof that he was not just in the civil rights movement, but that he was essentially a leader of the civil rights movement.
This picture right here that they're sending around trying to say that he's been in the trenches fighting for us, fighting for civil rights, that's not Bernie Sanders.
And this sort of great inflation, I guess you could call it, sort of trying to inflate Bernie Sanders' admirable support for the civil rights movement, admirable things he did with CORE, et cetera, which are admirable. No one's arguing they're not admirable, but attempting to inflate him into an almost John Lewis-like figure has caused a lot of problems for the Sanders campaign, particularly in social media.
Yeah. So that's the bullshit. Jonathan Capehart is a liar. He knows he's a liar. But and I'm seeing a lot of people ask the same questions here. A couple things on this. First of all, I say again, and I say this to the woman anchor too. I don't know who you were. Bernie Sanders has done more for civil rights than either of you. Probably knows more about it than either of you. Okay. Neither one of you were even alive when he was doing this shit. You've done such a disservice to the media. You take the John Lewis's statement, you couple it with a smear piece or two or three or four by Jonathan Capehart, and now you're slandering Bernie Sanders. And you continue to talk about Hillary having the majority of the black vote. And this is, again, wake up, America. Listen to Spike Lee. Wake up. Wake up. I just blows my mind. We're not even done, folks. You think that was bad. I've got even worse. We've got some stuff in the Hillary bashing section today that will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. This is a fantastic day for news. I heard Scott in there. You got something to say on this? You want to weigh in? Yeah, and they were showing that in that video. I don't know if you caught that. They showed that in the video, but I don't know if they just they showed him like sitting next to him, you know, in the apartment together in their tuxes. That one picture that's been going around, right? But yeah, that's. I mean, it's how many more? Scott, let me ask you. Yeah, yeah, it's and it just goes on and on. I mean, how many more blatantly obvious connections do you need to the Hillary campaign in terms of it just there's nothing you can do about it. You can just say, look, these connections exist, but nobody. It doesn't matter. There's no recourse to that. It's like, so they exist. These people are going to continue to say, like Hillary will continue to say, yeah, my relationship with Wall Street's rock solid. that doesn't mean I'm going to do anything with the money they give me or do anything because they give me money. They're all going to say that. We don't, even though we can draw a direct connection, I'm going to show you direct connection. Oh, look, Sean wants to come in right on top of your face. Nice to have Sean coming in. Didn't know he was coming in. But Sean's always welcome in. Everybody's welcome in here in the newsroom core team. Let me get you out of there, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. We're going to look at... So, here, let me show you this, guys. Oh, see, guys, the audio, I told you. That's what everybody's trying. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, let's try that again because that was the whole audio switch. I didn't switch the audio, folks. So.
Okay, but you commented on it already, but I was just pointing out something that was in the video that I didn't see because I was on a phone call, that Jonathan Capehart is in a long-time relationship with the Hillary Clinton staffer, and also pointed out that the women who wrote the article on Dolores Huerta also were clearly biased for Hillary.
Oh, interesting.
All at the Washington Post.
So that's a new piece. So the women that say that again. The women that wrote the Washington Post piece. Say that again.
Yeah, they were both very biased again. Like, for example, they end up concluding that because the Sanders supporters applauded after the moderator said, we're going to go with English only, that the Sanders supporters were supporting English only. And they were just applauding that a Clinton surrogate wasn't going to be the interpreter. It wasn't that they wanted English only. They wanted neutral interpreter.
Exactly. Yeah. It's misrepresent. And everybody, just so you know, Scott was there. So we were talking about. I realized there was an audio issue. Those of you who are catching up, I see more comments talking about that. Sorry about that. You couldn't hear Scott at the beginning. We were talking about Jonathan Capehart. What Scott was saying was what this picture shows right here very clearly is the connection. Capehart is in a relationship with other dude there, Nick Schmidt, and he is a Clinton staffer. So no, of course that's not going to affect anything at all. That's not going to affect his decisions, what he writes, how he feels, no. And then Scott was talking about the hit piece on what they did using Dolores Huerta. Whatever this woman thinks happened there is not what happened, and they took the truth and they smeared it and used it to say that Sanders supporters were basically being jerks about not having a Latino or a Spanish interpreter for here, which there's two things wrong with that. First of all, it's not anybody, it's not the people who show up, it's not their responsibility to provide an interpreter. That's the caucus responsibility. That's the party getting their shit together, recognizing that, hey, there's a whole bunch of people here speaking Spanish, we should probably have somebody interpreting that shit. So it's not a failing of the people, it's not a failing of the host. But what Scott was saying was that these two women that wrote a Washington Post article were clearly Hillary biased, and they took Dolores Huerta's situation or what she believed happened there. They used it against Bernie Sanders. Scott was there, folks. Scott was there. He recorded the footage that everybody's looking at right now. It is the one piece of footage that clearly shows what the hell was going on. And they're using, it's just ridiculous. It is a ridiculous spin of the truth. And the connections there. The connections there are what's discussed. I want to know where all of this, has anybody pulled up the massive pile of dirt on the Sanders campaign doing dirty things? I didn't think so. Doesn't even exist. Doesn't exist.
And
More than 100 different.
If Susan Sarandon knew Spanish and she volunteered to do the interpreting, the Clinton people would have been screaming no.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. So I understand right now, folks, I know we've had some people take off, and we've got more than 100 still with us right now. I understand that.
The other thing,
what?
In that article, they keep pointing, she was an 80-year-old lady, that they shouldn't be booing her and all this stuff. But It's Dolores Huerta. She helped start the Farm Workers Union. She's been in political battles her whole life, and in her blog, she's blasting Bernie. It's not like she should just get a free pass on everything.
No,
She's got
no.
skin. She's not a frail old lady.
No, she's not a frail old lady. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's an activist. Come on, you can't be an activist out there yelling and screaming and blasting Bernie and then pull the I'm a little old woman thing. That's bullshit. One way or the other. Stop being a hypocrite. Walk your talk. That's what it's just so goddamned annoying. This is the next piece of ridiculous journalism. MSNBC cuts away from Bernie Sanders as he condemns Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, you guys all know what this is like. Scott, you know how this goes. You don't, when you set up a piece, if you're going to listen to Bernie's speech, and they called it this speech, they were going to play the speech. Right? Well, he starts talking about trade agreements, and then he starts specifically mentioning TPP, and the woman just cuts right in. And that's Bernie Sanders more, what is, oh, no, this was supposed to be a press conference. I'm sorry. This is a press conference. Okay, all of the candidates during press conferences go through their stump speech. They just go through a short version of it, right? And maybe they'll address something that's particular to the point of why the hell they're there for the press conference. So Bernie Sanders is going on his stump speech, and he's hitting the TPP part. And this is a press conference, so the woman on MSNBC says, well, this is Bernie Sanders. You're listening to Bernie Sanders, but this is more of a speech than a press conference. And I wanted to cut back to the Republican side of things. We have breaking news. Well, first of all, the news wasn't breaking. And second of all, you only cut him off because he started to talk about something that you're very fond of. Okay. MSNBC and the TPP. And in the article, and it basically, we'll just scroll down. You can read this. Okay. Here, I'll read what she said. You've been listening to Bernie Sanders, less of a press conference, more of a speech. I want to turn back to Republican side of things, said Kate Snow. Okay. MSNBC owner Comcast has lobbied for the TPP. Last year, it fired host Ed Schultz for mentioning TPP, for talking about TPP. He is an outspoken opponent of the TPP. This is where the media, who doesn't have to show, they don't have to be unbiased, but this is where they lay their heavy hand of corrupt money, corrupt influence, and do what they please. This would be okay. This would be okay, except for the fact that we have 24% of the American public that get their news from establishment media. It's a complete disservice to our democracy. It makes a joke of our democracy. It is horrific.
And MSNBC also kind of pushed Al Sharpton into just a Sunday morning show. He doesn't have his daily slot anymore.
Interesting. We're going to talk about a couple things here. I have a big thing to show you about the Federal Reserve, but it'll make you so angry. It's going to make you so mad. We're not going to do it just yet. We're gonna go on a different thing here. I want to remind everybody. See if I can find the right one. Right, everybody. Let's look at this. I want to remind everybody what happened during the Nevada caucus. Now, this goes back to more. We're starting on the Hillary bash section. Okay. We're going to let Jimmy Dore tell us about it, but we haven't even gotten to the good part. We haven't even gotten to the good part of the Hillary bash. There's an article about Hillary that we're going to get to later that'll also really make you mad. But we're going to start with reminding everybody, and like I said, Scott has an interesting take on this, but I want you to remind everybody, Scott, when we talk about it, what you said about Hillary in 2008 on this. So this is what we're talking about. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about, John? Harry Reid rushed home to Nevada to help rig caucus results for Clinton. That's how this reads. Okay. So that's how this reads. Now, let me look here. We got any more comments going? We got comments. Beautiful. So let's run some comments. What happened here? What happened here was Harry Reid did what and this is I believe what you kind of said, Scott. He did what you would do on your side, and that is he called up the Culinary Union, which was a big winner for Barack Obama in 2008, and he said, "Hey guys, need you to show up." He called the executives of all the casinos, said, "Let all your culinary people go. Let them go and represent Hillary Clinton in the caucus at all 6 of these casino sites in Vegas." He called the executives. He said, "Come on, let them go represent Hillary." And who knows what the executives told the people? But my understanding, Scott, right? You here. We're gonna, Scott. You said that Hillary was. Tell me what you said Hillary was doing this whole time.
Completely different in 2008 when the Culinary Union endorsed Obama. The Clinton campaign actually went to court to try to block the at-large sites on the Strip where the workers could go and vote and not have to go home to their neighborhood precincts to caucus. They could caucus at the casino and go back to work is the way they do it. And she didn't want that because now it was a big help.
Yeah, but you were saying, hang on, you were saying before that, you were telling me that it wasn't just Harry Reid that made all these calls and rushed back to do it. You were saying that reports are coming out that Hillary was actually working with the union for a while, that she'd been working with these guys, right?
I think that's what any candidate should be doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Meetings with workers.
Right. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the original story doesn't mention the fact that Hillary was doing this groundwork. It just says Reid came back, made some calls, right?
Yeah, there were definitely reports that she was holding meetings, like she was staying at the Caesars and held meetings late at night with different shifts of workers. They're working 24 hours, so she can, outside of her regular schedule during the day, she could hold meetings with the workers at the hotels. And
right, it's smart.
It was smart.
Right. So that's the point I really wanted to get to. We can look at this in 2 different ways, folks. We can look at it and say, what an asshole, Harry Reid made some phone calls and got some executives to do some things and blah, blah, blah. But here's the truth in this political game, and this is where we as warriors have to think smarter. This was just politics. Hillary started working these people. I'm sure Bernie and his staff were like, we need to talk to the Culinary Union, and the Culinary Union at some point said, we're working with Hillary. Who knows? Who knows how that went down, but you got to believe that Bernie's strategists were probably also thinking about that, right?
There was Bernie supporters who, when I said that Hillary cleaned up at the casinos, they were disappointed. They said, "Oh, and Bernie went to a Culinary Union picket line." So you got to do more work than that. If that's what perception of the supporters are that Bernie did, then he didn't do enough work with the union if he just went to one event. Right.
So I mean, and thank you for saying that. Here's the reason I'm saying this, folks, and I'm looking at your comments. I'm looking at your comments right now, and I really, if Hillary gets the nomination, I bet you will see a President Trump. No, you'll see a war in this country. You'll see a war. There will be an all-out civil war if it's Hillary Trump. I guarantee it. I promise, actually. Yeah, it's interesting. People are a lot. I see some people saying the same. Clinton used the same method as Bush did in Iowa. But here's what I want to tell you folks. We have to realize that we are fighting a dirty war and that our opponent is using dirty weapons, chemical weapons, mistruths, bullshit, secret deals. We can't look at this and think, how dare they play dirty politics? Because that's what the establishment game is, dirt. They don't have a lot more to work on. So they're going to use their network. They're going to use the weapons they've been building for 40 years. And we can try to be upstanding, and we need to be above board. We need to remain above board, of course. I'm not saying we need to fight shit with shit. What I am saying is that we need to remember that our opponents have weapons that we refuse to use, and that we have to fight these weapons with the truth. So we are fighting things that are more... What's up, Scott? Yes?
Yeah, just along your lines, there are some things that the campaign has to do better. Like in Iowa, at my precinct, when they were doing a count of people going outside the door, counting one by one, there were Clinton staffers there counting too. There weren't any Sanders
Right, right.
counting to get a double. Things like that need to be. Yeah.
They see, and here's the other thing I'm going to say. I'm just going to make a guess here. You've seen the Clinton's staff. You've seen Bernie's staff. Do you see a lot more older individuals on the Clinton side of things in general? Or am I making an assumption there?
No, I don't think. In fact, Robbie Mook's pretty young.
Is it? Okay, so it's pretty diverse. It's not just a bunch of old. The only reason I say it is because they've been at this game a long time in the establishment side of things, so they know how to do this stuff, folks. They know how to work it.
And one thing in Iowa that they did, they had a lot of fellowships where it was high school students and college students that had fellowships to the campaign. One thing that Sanders had a lot of staff, but she had a lot more staff because she had a lot of these young students who were interns or fellows, and they had the money to do that. I guess they probably paid them a little bit.
Right, right. Well, so along these lines, you and I both know, and we've talked about many instances of this, where Hillary's using tactics that were used by Obama in 2008, or she's the bigger point that you said in here in all of this that I think got lost because I asked you to go back, and I apologize, and that was that in 2008 Hillary was condemning the very practice that she used this time, right?
Yeah. She wanted there to be no caucuses at the hotels.
And what's the reason? Explain the reason why.
Well, everybody else, I see some validity to it. Everybody else has to go to their neighborhood precinct to caucus. There isn't a caucus at a factory or something so that the factory workers there could vote.
So the convenience, making it convenient for people to vote. In 2008, it wasn't working for her, so she wanted no. But today it's working for her. So yeah, let's do that. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Amazing how that goes. Amazing how that goes. It's not about whether it's more convenient for the people. And listen, as a thing, I think that makes total sense. You've got these places, you've got big rooms, you've got all those people working there. Makes sense, right? I mean, from what we could see, compared to what we saw with the Iowa caucus, it was certainly a lot better than having people hanging outside in the freezing snow. Of course, you're in Vegas; they'd be hanging outside melting. But it makes absolute sense. But to establishment politicians, it only makes sense if it's in their favor. It only makes sense if they grease the wheels. What, Scott?
Right, I think the MGM has 5,000 employees.
Holy cow, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's society deep further. I want to. So we got to get this, Scott. Did you see that comment right there? Apparently, Nina Turner ripped into Clinton on CNN today, and we gotta find that. What we're gonna do right now, folks, is we're gonna listen to Jimmy Dore. This is a little 8-minute piece. Jimmy Dore is gonna remind everybody just how flip-floppy Hillary is on things like whether something's good for her or not, or Wall Street money. What else has she flip-flopped on? Just about everything. Just about everything. The TPP she flip-flopped on. Gay marriage she's flip-flopped on. What?
Gun control.
Gun control she's flip-flopped on. Whether she's progressive or moderate she's flip-flopped on. Jimmy Dore is going to remind you of a lot of those things. But in the end, what he's going to remind you of is what everybody saw Obama saying in 2008, and that was that she's unelectable for the fact that she flip-flops. So we've known that she flip-flops. Just one more time, wake up, America. If you are voting for Hillary Clinton, you are voting to oppress yourselves. You have a choice this time. Let's not oppress each other. It's really dumb. Here's Jimmy Dore. He explains it pretty well.
Talk about how Bernie Sanders is unelectable, how Bernie Sanders he doesn't know how to work with people and get stuff done, and he's going to lose to the Republicans. He's a socialist. He's scary. Oh, the people are afraid of socialists. They're never going to vote for a guy like that. They won't. But Bernie's unelectable. Sure, we all like his ideas. Sure, he's saying things that Democrats have been for since the New Deal. Sure, he's talking about stuff that Democrats are supposed to be rallying around, and it's supposed to be at the core of our party. Sure, but let's ignore all that because we could get someone else elected who's a little bit more like a Republican. So I went back, and guess what? In 2007, they were saying a lot of. Let's listen to what they were saying about Hillary Clinton back then.
Before Barack Obama's presidency, the Bush and Clinton families ruled the Oval Office for the preceding 25 years.
So think about that. That's what people were saying. From 1980 into 2006 or 2008, there was a Bush or a Clinton in the White House. From 1980 to 2008, there was a Bush or a Clinton in the White House. And so people were saying, enough of this. This is crazy. What are you, crazy? We can't have Hillary. Now Hillary Clinton's going to run again? Are you kidding? So that's what people forget. That's what they were saying back then, that people wanted to move. That's what Barack Obama was all about, moving forward. He was going to change things. Here, there's more to this.
At what point do the American people say, this is insane?
Not just two families.
It's time to turn the page on the Clintons and the Bushes.
Same challenge Jeb Bush has, right? Trying to introduce you to Jeb, not Bush. They're trying to introduce you to, in this case, Hillary Rodham, not Hillary Clinton.
I do think that in any calculation and discussion of this, you have to keep remembering what Obama's campaign themes were, that we're going to turn the page on the Bushes and the Clintons. We're going to change the way Washington does business.
So that's what they were saying back then, that how can people wanted to change. People want change. Guess what? People still want that change. People still want that change, which is why everybody and their sister voted for Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire. Reagan Democrats, young people, women, young women, middle-aged women. The only people who didn't vote for him were the wealthy and senior citizens. Bernie Sanders, I'm talking about. So people still want change. This is still something, and people forget what they were saying about Hillary Clinton. She was the weak candidate. We got more.
Before Barack Obama's presidency.
But her top Democratic rivals then raised the issue of electability.
A lot of Democrats are concerned about that as to whether you can win a general election.
I think what people who are concerned about electability should be looking at is
The fact of the matter is that my colleague from New York, Senator Clinton, they're 50% of the American public and say they're not going to vote for him. I'm not saying anything that people don't know already.
That's Christopher Dodd on stage at a Democratic debate saying 50% of the American public aren't going to vote for you. That's something I'm not saying. We all know this. Where did all that go? There's more. There's more.
New CNN ORC poll shows more people view her unfavorably than at any point since 2001.
Senator, they may actually want to run against you, and that's the reason they keep bringing you up.
Part of the reason that Republicans, I think, are obsessed with you, Hillary, is because that's a fight they're very comfortable having.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Barack Obama was saying that. Christopher Dodd was saying that. That guy who cheated on his wife was saying that. Isn't that interesting? The stuff that they're saying, how come no one's bringing that up? Hey, you're the one. You're the flawed candidate, Hillary. You were flawed in 2007. You're flawed in 2015-16. Why are you not flawed? Why don't you have those same flaws you had back then? This was all of them saying this about her. This was the news media saying this. This is the candidates. This is John Edwards. This is Christopher Dodd. This is Barack Obama, all saying to Hillary Clinton that you're unelectable. Half the country has had enough of you, and you'll never get more than 50. There it is, right there. Here we go. There's more to this.
First she said this, 5 seconds later, this. Unless I missed something, Senator Clinton said two different things in the course of about 2 minutes.
I can't tell whether she was for it or against it.
So that was a big rub against her back then, too. Not only like, hey, you're old, your history, we need to turn the page, we need to move forward. Not only all that, half the country knows enough about you. They hate you. They'll never vote. Not only that, but now here's the other criticism. She was trying to be on every side of every issue. She tries to be, and they called her out for it. You don't think that's going to happen again? Here, guess who's doing it now?
You can't be for something or take credit for an administration and 35 years of experience, and then when you run for president, suggest somehow that you didn't really mean what you said back then.
So that's Barack Obama calling her out for that in 2007. For being on all sides of the issue, flip-flopping. And, I guess people are getting a taste of that again, because here's the kind of stuff she's doing now.
I get accused of being kind of moderate and center. I plead guilty.
Oh, my God.
Just for the record, are you a progressive or are you a moderate?
I'm a progressive.
I think she's a flip-flopper. So that's what they were saying about her back then. That's what they're saying about her now. Watch.
And on trade, Clinton was a champion for the Pacific Rim Agreement.
You even called it the gold standard.
Hillary Clinton advocated for President Obama's trade deal.
We are making progress toward finalizing a far-reaching new trade agreement called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The so-called TPP will lower barriers, raise standards, and drive long-term growth across the region.
Now, suddenly last week, you're against it.
Wow.
It's doing it again for the TPP. So her Democratic rivals were on her tactic of being on every side of every issue back in 2007. And now when we pointed out, we're dreamers. We're not realists. What were they back then? What were those people back then? Were they not realists? Because they were supporting a black guy with a Muslim name to be our president. They weren't dreamers. The whole country was ready. They're ready now again. In fact, they criticized Hillary Clinton was such a flawed candidate back then. It was so obvious that she tried to be on every side of like she's doing now. She's trying to pretend that she's a progressive. My point of doing all this is that she's the way more flawed candidate. And so this stuff that people are saying about Bernie Sanders, people who are supporting Hillary out of fear, I just want to give you what they were saying back in 2007 about her, and now they're starting to, and the same thing's happening again. And let's remember what Barack Obama said about her in 2007.
Hillary Clinton, she'll say anything and change nothing. It's time to turn the page.
That's Barack Obama's ad from 2007. She'll say anything to get elected and change nothing. Bernie Sanders could burn that same ad. Bernie Sanders could run that same ad today, and I bet he will. So I don't want to make this a bashing Hillary Clinton show, but I just want to point out to people you're 100% wrong. And if what you're doing is voting for Hillary because you are afraid of a Ted Cruz or a Donald Trump presidency, you're making a huge mistake. Let's remember the last time we elected a Democratic socialist, they had to invent term limits. That's how popular he was. People love Bernie Sanders' ideas, and the more they learn about him, the more they like him. His numbers are going up, not down. Hillary Clinton's are going down.
There you go. And Scott, I brought you guys back in on audio. So that's a nice wrap from Jimmy Dore about the reality of Hillary's flip-flopping, the reality of her unelectability, as Barack Obama described it so well in 2007, 2008. What do you got to say about any of that, Scott?
I don't think she's said she's against the TPP. And when she said she was against the Keystone Pipeline, she said because it's a distraction. She didn't say because it was dirty for the environment, it was bad for the environment. She just said it was a distraction.
Seriously.
And what she said on the TPP was that what I know now, I don't think it meets my standards.
Oh.
That's pretty weak. It's pretty easy to say, well, I learned a little bit more about it, and now I'm for it, which is what.
Right.
If you got the nomination, I'm sure that would be what she would say.
Right. Well, of course. And if it doesn't meet her standards, what she means by that is it's not doing enough for Wall Street. right? Because her standards would be based on what Wall Street gets. So she didn't really define what her standards are in that regard. That
Well,
could just mean it, you know.
It actually was. She kept saying before she came out with the position that the TPP had to meet these three. It has to protect the environment, help worker. She had this whole thing laid out. She said she had to see the deal before she would come to an opinion, and then when she came to an opinion, all she said was she doesn't think, from what she knows about it, she doesn't think it meets those standards.
Right. This is the deal that our government was pushing to have signed and done before anybody ever got to look at it. Right?
Yeah.
This is remember that? I mean, I was just like, you fucking kidding me? You guys are backing something you haven't read. You're backing something we can't even see. What?
And she didn't come out with a position before the vote on fast track, which was the key vote. It's as soon as the Republicans now want to bring it up, and now it's really Paul Ryan who's holding it up. I don't know what's going on with that, or McConnell. There's nothing anybody can do. Fast track doesn't allow any debate, doesn't allow, or really limits the debate, and no amendments, no nothing. That got through by a couple votes. That if she'd taken a position, I'm sure that a couple of those Democrats could have been swayed, and they would have blocked fast track.
Interesting. And let's so we have no idea what Hillary's real stance on that is really at this point. She's made some vague statements, but really hasn't taken a stand, which speaks to poor judgment again of that leader that for some reason folks seem to think she still has better leadership qualities. They keep pushing that in the poll. I don't know where that comes from. One quick note on another piece of inconsistency. I don't know if you caught this the other day, but there was a SEIU flyers paint Clinton as $15 an hour minimum wage in Nevada. Did you see that come through the other day?
I didn't see that. It's not surprising.
It's This was the article, folks. There was so much stuff that went down in terms of just bullshit.
I'm not totally sure that whoever did that is totally. They might not have realized they were because she does always say that the minimum wage has to be raised, and I think they probably don't realize that she doesn't support 15, that she only supports 12.
Oh, that's not true, Scott. That's not true. Let's read what they had to say here. The flyers were sent out as a tool to help provide members information about where Clinton stands on SEIU's agenda, according to the email obtained by Politico. SEIU's Nevada State Director, Brian Shepard, told Politico the flyers were not misleading about Clinton's position. Hillary Clinton was the first candidate who came out and met with workers. She said and said she supported our movement. Shepard said, the fight for 15 is about creating a movement of people to talk about inequality in America. That's been the focus of Fight for 15. I thought it was to get a $15 an hour minimum wage. Excuse me, folks. Shepard said the union has been stumping for Clinton in working-class neighborhoods and has knocked on 36,000 doors, distributing 10,000 pledge cards on her behalf. And if we scroll up here, so he doesn't think, she's never said, folks, she has never said she supports a $15 an hour minimum wage. When your fucking slogan, this is an F-bomb moment, when your fucking slogan is fight for 15, I would think that $15 an hour would be the point of your group. But for some reason, she's greased your wheels, so you're backing her because, well, she doesn't want $15 an hour because Wall Street executives have made it very clear they don't want $15 an hour, and Hillary's going to do what they say. She wants to make it clear that she supports your movement in that it's about people getting a higher wage, just not what the point of your movement, the name of your movement is. That's too much. But I really support your ideas. So they stumped for her. And they lied. They put she supports $15 an hour wage on their shit, and they distributed it. That's lying.
Yeah,
That's misleading.
She ignores everybody on the rope line. She just shakes hands with people, and anytime the press try to ask questions, they get pushed back and everything. 3 times I've asked her. 3 times in Iowa, I asked her, is Iowa one of the places that $15 an hour would be inappropriate? And she ignored me every time, because that's her position, is that $15 an hour is good for some places, but other places it just won't work. It's too high.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And here, just for the record, I hang on, Sean. I see you want to come in there. Just for the record, here's what it says here. Hillary Clinton supports our fight for 15 and a union. Read the SEIU flyers, which were distributed in English and Spanish. The literature also features quote from Clinton supporting New York's proposal to raise wages for fast food workers to $15 an hour, because she says in New York that's appropriate. That's what you're saying, Scott.
Yeah.
As president, I will work to raise the federal minimum wage back to the highest level it's ever been, $12 an hour in today's dollars. That tells me that she's fighting for 12.
Yeah.
Clinton's fighting for 12, folks, not fight for 15. So the people that fight for 15 need to change their signs to fight for 12 if they're going to back Hillary Clinton. Okay? Fight for 12, everybody. Okay? And support state and local efforts to go even further. There's where she adds that little, oh. And if you want to go further, that's fine. But my Wall Street buddies and me, we're gonna go for 12.
Wait,
Sean?
so
Scott? Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No.
Scott, go.
I never tied the fight for 15 specifically to SEIU.
I'm not either. I'm just saying.
I thought that was the implication. Just because SEIU is pushing this, I don't think that the fight for 15 is endorsing Hillary.
I don't know.
I don't think they're endorsing anybody. The fight for 15.
Well, this guy. Hang on. It was
I thought you.
So why does the SEIU's Nevada State Director Brian Shepard get to be the mouthpiece on this information?
That's where I'm not sure. I think they probably support the fight for 15, but I don't think that they're the key organizers behind it.
Interesting. I don't know. Guys, I'm playing with a new here, look everybody, I'm playing with a new design in graphics, and it's all right except we got Sean Ginormous in the middle, and I gotta adjust. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, how you doing? Welcome, Sean.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. Well, first, I know that Shama Sawant's 15 Now is the organization that she's most involved with. So yeah, of course there are lots of people out there. I think the important thing or the interesting thing to note is all this fight over, is she's really supporting 12, and most people that are really the most progressive on this issue are going for 15. But that almost sets the president or the conversation to be that 15's the high end, and 15's just the high end of what people are asking to be something that's reasonably, going to keep people, on a, getting them the basics is what I'm trying to say. And so, really it should be over $20 an hour if we're, keeping in pace with, the cost of living. So I think that's something that's important to keep in mind, is that this whole narrative also helps push on the idea that 15 is, some people, the radical high number, where that's just trying to get to a livable wage for people.
Right. Yeah, that's.
Malley was out there. I passed a living wage in Maryland, $10 an hour. It's like but he did. In fairness, he did support $15 an hour. And what was I? Oh, Robert Reich was asked at a conference I went to whether they should be pushing for 15 or 12, and he said, if you push for 15, you'll probably end up getting 12. If you push for 12, you'll end up getting 10. So we should push for 15.
Well, in that sense, we should push for 20 because, that's my mind. Here, when we
got 15 in Seattle. That's what we're pushing for. So
just kind of another one of the. That's a great thing to mention, Sean. Just another one of those represent us, kind of just get it done. Right? Seattle said, we're just going to do this here, folks. screw the federal government. We're going to do what we need to here, elect the people we need to here, take care of ourselves, get it done. That's the way we have to do it, because the people we elect at the local and state level, we can push into our federal level. So we got to remember that. But let's more on Hillary. More on Hillary. That's you guys ever watch The Voice? Carson Daly hosts The Voice, and you guys, I don't know, you guys, I study a lot of mainstream television, entertainment television, because the production level is so expensive and so well done. Like the Olympics, great thing to study. And I like watching The Voice because I like music. Carson Daly is a very human announcer and host. One time he uses that phrase, more on such and such, right? But if you don't delay it right, and now more on Hillary Clinton, if you say it quickly, and now more on Hillary Clinton. And that's exactly what he did with one of the guests that he was talking to. And he never used that again because he saw his eyes go, oh, that sounded wrong. That was wrong. Anyway, we're going to look at more on Hillary Clinton and F-15 sales for Christmas. F-15 sales for Christmas, folks, so we can blow the shit out of the Middle East, because that's what we do, is blow the shit out of the Middle East. But right now, what I'm trying to do is get to where I can zoom in on the screen, because it's a lovely picture of death and destruction from The Intercept. And this is what we're talking about here. Emails show Hillary Clinton aides celebrating F-15 sales to Saudi Arabia. Good news, everybody. We've just murdered some more children and made America billions. And Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, negotiated these wonderful deals and took money directly into the Clinton Foundation. Wake up, America. If you're voting for Hillary Clinton, you are voting for somebody who has taken money into her nonprofit foundation from Boeing, from Saudi Arabia. She's worked to sell F-15s to Syria, to whoever the hell that she sold them to. The Saudi Arabia campaign, this brutal Saudi air campaign in Yemen, okay, has been led by American-made F-15 fighter jets. Let's scroll through some of Hillary Clinton's accomplishments. When she says, I'm a get things done progressive. Let's look at some of the progressive accomplishments that Hillary can boast, okay? So basically, scrolling down here, a newly released email shows that her aides kept her well informed of the approval process for a $29.4 billion sale in 2011 of up to 84 advanced F-15 SA fighters manufactured by Boeing, along with upgrades to the pre-existing Saudi fleet of 70 F-15s. 70! We are the warmongers of the world. Hillary Clinton and her establishment partners manufacture weapons, pay no taxes, and sell them around the world to murder children. If you're voting for Hillary Clinton, I call you Morgan Freeman, bow tie wearing asshole making lies about Bernie Sanders, Jonathan Capehart. You are causing your own oppression, and you are going to elect, or you want to elect somebody. You are supporting somebody who sold F-15s for fun, for profit, to murder children. Shame on you. Shame on you as human beings. Shame on you for taking money from the establishment to protect your own goddamn cushy ass.
John, the article actually specifically mentioned some of those things, that the planes that were made by Boeing were actually implicated in bombings of 3 facilities supported by Doctors Without Borders, including the Chamber of Commerce, a wedding hall, and a center for the blind. So I mean, it's like indiscriminate killing, and really what this does is just builds more enemies for the U.S. instead of, if more diplomatic efforts would, of course, be the opposite effect.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for adding that in. That's a wonderful add in there. I'm gonna read you guys the last portion here, and then anything, Scott, and you want to throw in on this, please do. You guys just need to hear this. I'm just going to put up there so we can all read this together to understand this. Okay, the congratulatory tone. What they're saying here is that everybody was pleased. It says another official whose name was redacted confirmed that a Saudi general who'd been working with the U.S. officials was pleased, as are all of us. These are about as said he would soon contact the executives at Boeing. The congratulatory tone continues in the email chain with other officials would also have redacted names, calling the weapons deal great news. On December 26th, Jeremy Bash, then Chief of Staff at the Pentagon, sent the email string titled F-15SA Christmas Present to Sullivan, who sent it to Clinton with his own note at the top. David Sirota and Andrew Perez had previously reported for the International Business Times that Clinton's State Department was heavily involved in approving weapons sales to Saudi Arabia. As weapon transfers were being approved, both the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Boeing made donations to the Clinton Foundation. The Washington Post revealed that a Boeing lobbyist helped with fundraising in the early stages of Hillary Clinton's current presidential campaign. Jeremy Bash is now managing partner at Beacon Global Strategies, a consulting firm that provides advice to Clinton on foreign policy while providing paid advice to the military contracting industry, the military-industrial complex. How much more dirty does it get? If you're voting for Hillary, you are voting for an oppressor, a regime that murders children, sells F-15s around the world, lies to you about it, takes money into their foundation for it. I stopped there. Anyone?
I think you pretty much said it all. It's definitely been a problem for a long time. The arms sales around the world have caused a lot of problems, and it's both Republicans and Democrats. Who doesn't matter who's in office, they're selling weapons around the world and causing a lot of destruction. And just a quick segue, I think there's a forum tonight.
Oh,
and
do we have something to cover? Good.
We can do a meta. It's a CNN town hall with Hillary and Bernie from South Carolina.
Okay.
But I think Bernie should say that everybody keeps criticizing me on foreign policy. I'm actually skeptical about whether it'll work, but the so-called Russia-U.S.-Syria deal in this has Russia, the U.S., and Syria bombing ISIS, and everything else is a ceasefire and everything else. That's been Bernie's plan all along, is stop focusing on Assad and go after ISIS. So he should say that well, Hillary keeps saying that I was wrong on the Syria plan. It's exactly what Obama's doing.
Right. Interesting point. Interesting point. Right. So is she backing Obama? Is she saying that his foreign policy moves are wrong? What are we saying here, Hill? Right. It's talk. You can't keep talking out of both sides of your mouth and your ass. You're eventually going to have to I don't know. It comes down to waking up, America. I just got to go back to what Spike Lee said at the beginning. Wake the fuck up. And eventually, you're going to watch enough establishment television to catch the lies. You'll be like, wait, what? I remember, hopefully, there's going to be enough there. I don't know. When I just more and more people need to do what that guy at the MSNBC did and leak footage, leak audio. I encourage you, please help the revolution, help us fix this place, and leak the truth out of establishment so we can hear more of the lies, so we can push these lies out, get people to understand that somebody like Hillary Clinton, who's excited with her team about selling weapons of destruction to Saudi Arabia, taking money from Boeing and Saudi Arabia into the Clinton Foundation, they don't have your best interests in mind, Jonathan Capehart. They just don't. Maybe they have a fat paycheck for you, but they certainly don't have your best interest in mind. You're voting for an oppressor. It's sad. It's sad. Oh, you guys were great today. A lot of people in the audience today. Nice to have you around. 117 plus, probably more like 130 with us. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to come down to the wrap-up section. I want to talk about things we got going on tomorrow. Later today, Scott says we may have a forum, we may do a meta, we got something, we'll figure it out. I'll let you know what's happening with streams, other Bernie stuff. Tomorrow, newsroom, of course, but we also have this going on. We have Disability TV, February 24th, which should be tomorrow, live 7 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be awesome, and there's a special guest who I was supposed to have the name in my head already, and I don't. But we have a special guest tomorrow, and his name is Niall DeMarco. Niall DeMarco is somebody who those in the disability community know. And so we're going to have him on tomorrow, and I'm going to learn who the hell he is, and we're going to find out. So Disability TV is the show put together by volunteer Denise Silva, worked on by volunteers in BTV, and it is a beautiful testament to what we can do together. It's a beautiful thing. Join us. It's an engagement broadcast show. We're going to learn a lot. Disability issues is one of the things on Bernie's list. He hasn't said much about it, and so we really want to draw more attention to that, and hopefully we'll get some information out of him, hear what's going on. We also have, and I didn't load up the card. We also have Tim Canova, guys. We're moving up. Bernie TV's moving up. Get guys like Tim Canova in here on We the People, and that's what I'm looking around for right now is Tim's nice card that I wanted to show everybody. Here it is. Here it is. Right here. Yeah. Sorry, got the wrong thing. Here we go. Tim, right here. I want to show you these things because the volunteers in the BTV group that take the time to make these graphics, to do these stories, to put together the artwork, this is beautiful. It's amazing. And you should see the discussions they have about how it should be done and which way is best and how to make it look right. This is the guy with integrity that we want to get rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz with, folks. We are really excited to have him on. Spoke with him yesterday. He is a Bernie-crat through and through. Please join us tomorrow, Thursday. That's Thursday on We the People. So tomorrow's Disability TV, Thursday, We the People with Tim Canova, because he needs airtime, just like all of the Bernie-crats, because we do the truth. So Tim Canova, no filters, no BS, just a conversation with you and us. And I think that's it. Sean, anything else we got to remind people about?
Not that I see in front of me. Just make sure to follow us and subscribe and like and all that fancy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Actually, yeah, and thank you. Subscribe and like and stuff. Somebody earlier said they wanted to donate to Scott. Scott, I don't know if you have a way to do that, maybe reader-supported news or whatever, but I will tell you this. I help, the funds that come into me, I've been helping Scott occasionally here and there with transportation, with fees, hotel rooms, stuff like that. So I will definitely send money. If you donate and you send a message to me, info@2016TV, and say, look, I just donated $20, $15, $5, whatever it is. I want that money to go to Scott. I will send it to Scott directly. I can do that. I have that with all of the people in Bernie 2016 TV. If you want to support a specific individual that's on the road or a specific reporter, we don't have the means to do like a big crazy ass system where you could go in and do pledges. Just tell me. Send me a note. We have a fan funding button on the homepage of our YouTube channel, Bernie2016.tv. Go there, look for the little blue fan funding button. If you're on a mobile device, you have to go to About, and there should be a fan funding button. It's anonymous. I don't know who you are. You just donate money. All I see in the back end is that somebody donated, and then you can send me a note. I don't know. I haven't done it. Fan funding, so I don't know if you get a chance to put notes in there. I don't get notes. I don't get anything, really. It's just, so that's how you can help Scott. That's how you can help us. I won't turn on YouTube monetization. I won't give YouTube any of the money. they need to talk to me and tell me how we can work out not showing corporation ads. If we can work out a deal, then I will do something with YouTube. But I'm not going to support the establishment. I'm not going to support them. And they really do a lot of work for the establishment through their stranglehold of our speech. It's one of the reasons this organization was created. So wake up, America. That's the message from Spike Lee earlier today, and it is the message for us today. We are going to go out with, not that. That was just an ad. We're going to go out with Wall Street official song, Make That Money, Take That Money. This is a new video submission. We've been rebuilding the plane in the air again, folks. This is BTV version 3 or 4. You have to do this with a volunteer group, and I really appreciate everybody staying in there, everybody who's dealing with this reorg, the difficulties, the fans, everybody putting up with the changing of shows. I know it hasn't been easy, and I know quality of things has been all over the place, but we've reached a new level, I think. We've grown, we've done the climb, we've reached a new level, and we're rebuilding, and we're going to look better and faster, smarter, shinier, whatever words you want to use, Bernier. Going to look Bernier. Going to do. So this is Jeremiah 2012, Wall Street official song. This was put out on December 5th, 2011. So my guess is this was done, around Occupy Wall Street kind of stuff. Holds true today, folks. Holds true today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all so much. If we bring the forum, we'll get a card up there. We'll do a meta or something. Feel the burn, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Life savings through some Wall Street schemes. He worked hard every day and he never asked why. Couldn't afford his health insurance, so he had to die. He was a good man, but he had to leave us, cause if you ain't got no money, you can go be with Jesus. This is the kind of place where only the strong survive, and you better get some money if you want to stay alive. Just give me your money, I want everything. Just give me your gold and your diamond Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. So the people say that money makes the world go round, and the day that you don't need is when they put you in the ground. And where there's smoke, there's fire. It all begins with a spark. So I walk up in the bank and make a payment to the loan shark. Bank stocks are up, son. What do you think of that? A city full of walls, you can post complaints at. They got me running like a rat on a wheel, and I gotta escape. Slave to the paper to put food on the plate. It's getting tough, son, and it ain't funny. I hit you like Klitschko if you're after my money. I can take a direct hit or pepper spray straight in the mouth. I do a front flip and wreck your whole house. You can tase me, but it won't faze me. Ukrainian vodka got me acting all crazy. That's right. Just give me your money, I want everything. Just give me your gold and your diamond ring. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. That's just the way it is. They say the crime on the streets is only for bad people. Stealing on Wall Street is perfectly legal. Mr. Bill Collector, come and kick in your door, messing up your life like a bad credit score. Your house is not a home, it's just a toxic toxic asset. Invest in yourself with some student loan debt. And all these young kids better pay attention in class, because they wouldn't know hard work if it kicked them in the ass. And when you can't find a job and you say help me please, you gotta work hard to compete with the Chinese. This is the kind of place where only the strong survive, and you better get some money if you wanna survive. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money. Make that money or take that money. Gotta get some money, money, money.
Huge